Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Indie Zone podcast. My name is Kathy. On the 17th of March, 2025, the defense filed their objection in response to the state's motion in Limine regarding requesting that the court render an order that certain documents introduced into evidence were self-authenticating. What that means is you don't need to bring in, say, a records custodian from ABC Bank or whatever the business is or the organization is to come into court to be sworn in and to basically testify that, yes, these records are kept in the normal course and scope of our business. What the rules of evidence in a lot of courts and jurisdictions allow is that the proponent, the person who wants to enter these records into evidence, can file a motion to have the court deem, as the state is doing here before a trial, that these are self-authenticating. So what is the defense saying here? They're coming before the court and objecting to the admission of self-authenticating records. According to the defense, the state provided a list containing terabytes of discovery in its motion for admission at trial based on an exception to the rule against hearsay. This is an example of the discovery practices the state engages in, which violates, we go to page 2, Mr. Kohberger's right to due process and a fair trial. And he's raising the constitutional provisions of the 5th, 6th, and 14th Amendment, as well as the Idaho Constitution. Continues stating that the state has promised certification in the future, but has failed to properly identify the record and how it fails within Rule 8036 and or 8038. And further legal authority is cited here. And then Mr. Kohberger describes the size and complexity of each item for which the state requests admission with a promised certificate as follows. And it begins on page 2, and it's a rather interesting list, beginning with surveillance footage for November 13th, 2022, 1320 Linda Lane. And then number 2, 1330 Linda Lane, surveillance footage for November 13th, 2022. Now, this appears to be the footage that has been seen on the internet and in mainstream media and in various news organizations as showing footage of cars coming and going from the parking lot of these properties. These are apartment complexes, a very short distance from the house that used to stand at 1122 King Road at the time of the crimes. So what they're looking to do is to have these admitted as self-authenticating without having, let's say, the landlord come into court and state, yes, this is surveillance video from my organization. And then if you go on the remaining pages, address bank records, address records from various social media organizations, and address the video from the grub truck that you may have seen online, and other related information from, most of it is from November 13th, 2022, or around that time, but some of it is from different time periods. For example, the Amazon records, which Mr. Kohberger describes here as belonging to his father's account. And we've had a disclosure recently that a K-bar with a sheath and a sharpener was purchased several months before the crimes and sent to the home where Mr. Kohberger's family lived and where he was arrested in Monroe County, Pennsylvania. So it will be quite interesting to see what the state replies with to this opposition. We will continue to monitor the docket for you, but we do invite you to look at the records and you can see for yourself. This will now conclude this episode of the Indie Zone podcast. This is Kathy. Thank you for joining us here today.